This season of My First Dungeon is sponsored by Soul Muppet Publishing and their Kickstarter for Orbital Blues Afterburn that is now in the final week of its campaign. Afterburn is the first hardcover expansion for Orbital Blues, featuring a dazzling array of spaceships, additional rules for GMs, and the biggest Orbital Blues adventure yet. By backing the Kickstarter today, you can also get some fantastic rewards, including a 12-song cassette of Behold's original music featured in this very show. In 1 week's time, the tale of our interstellar outlaws will come to an end one way or another, as will the Kickstarter for Afterburn. So open up our show notes right now and click on the links to back the Kickstarter for Orbital Blues Afterburn. And now, enjoy the show.
You are clear for liftoff in 3, 2, 1. Godspeed, cowboy.
We called it the final frontier. But all that meant was that when space turned out to be just as corruptible and ruthless as Earth, we had nowhere left to escape to. So we gathered up our troubles and our blues, slung them over our world-wearied backs, and stepped into the new rebel era, aboard whatever ship we could find. These days, a ship means freedom. But every day of freedom incurs a debt to the frontier galaxy. And space is the hardest son of a bitch out there. And it's always coming to collect. We open on the following day as the lights on the ship begin to pulse up, simulating sunrise for you guys who are in space, and sunrise could be anytime you're near a star. You guys all begin to stir in your various quarters and cabins and make your way to the main deck of the ship, where Dick Whiskey has made a breakfast for you guys of huevos rancheros. They smell good, eat at your own risk. But there's this breakfast laid out for you. John Tequila is already kind of shoveling down some eggs. As you guys sit down, you notice that the din around this crew is a little bit tense. The tension that existed last night did not entirely dissipate with a night's sleep. And that thought, that question from Eli is still ringing in the back of all of your heads. What is it you really want? I open it to you guys. As you guys sit down for a quiet breakfast, who speaks first?
I'm just saying blank literally can't, so I mean,
Maria's getting she's like scooping some huevos rancheros onto a plate for herself and also onto a plate for Kumari.
Kumari is just sitting at the table looking at everyone, and they go, yeah, today's team meeting's canceled. Don't worry about it. We're not talking.
Are you sure, boss? I wrote up an agenda. It's a short one, but...
Well, then you can call a team meeting, Maria. I don't want to. Team meeting. Maria's running team meeting.
All right, we're gonna do a team meeting, and we're first thing on it is checking in with Dick Whiskey. How the kitchen holding up?
Oh man, God, listen, I thought I could make a good breakfast, and I think I did a pretty good job, but there's so little food left. I really want to make you guys a good breakfast and kind of be a real part of this crew, but you tell me how's it taste.
You did just fine. You douse this thing in hot sauce and it'll taste great.
That was my plan. You guys have a lot of variations of types of hot sauce from a lot of different systems, and really not much else.
We do. We like to pick them up, almost like a souvenir, but also for eating purposes.
I also have a number of different dipping dishes for different hot sauces if you want to try.
All right, thank you, Dick Whiskey. That's real helpful. All right. Well, second item on this list is are we all going down? Gonna scope out this fight?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. That's 2 in. Blank, Eli, John.
Blank is, I think Blank always sits, but they always sit on the ground. I think just kind of legs crossed with their board in front of them and whatever meal they're having on the board, almost like it's a platter or something. And they don't look up, but just put a thumbs up in your direction.
Eli just nods his weathered cowboy hat a little bit in agreement and takes a sip of his black coffee. He's not eating breakfast today. He's sulking.
Ward is also skipping breakfast.
Eli's just thinking about how he and Ward are like so fucking different. Just like, how could I ever have seen this man as my like friend and brother? And they're just like doing the exact same motions,
Just,
and, like brooding in the
sipping at
exact
the
same
same
way.
time.
It's like we'd never see eye to eye.
Yep.
Kumari sees like Eli and Ward, like they're about to like eat a scoop of their food, sees Eli and Ward not eating, puts the fork down, and just like takes their mug of, there's like nothing in it, but pretends to drink like they have coffee in it.
John comes up behind you and is like, wherever Red's gonna be, I'm gonna be. And if Red's supposed to be at this fight, I'm gonna be at this. Oh, hey, can I pour you some coffee? Yeah, it looks like you're out.
Shut up!
It just pours you a full cup of black coffee.
I finished mine in one sip. That's why he had to refill it, guys.
I think Ward just stares at Kumari as their cup gets filled up.
Well, all right. We're gonna make moves down there now. I think Eli gave us some real interesting things to think about as we went to sleep last night, and one of those things was what we real want, and whether we like it or not, we are a crew, and I think we should maybe set out a couple of goals for getting down there. We all have a bunch of things we want to do, but I think we have a better chance if we do them together. So if John wants to free Red. Anyone else want to share a goal or something they would like to achieve today?
Way I see it, I only got one goal. Kill those motherfucking snakes that run the Perazzo family. Whether I walk out of that snake pit alive or bit to shit and bleeding, dead, full of poison, ain't make no difference to me. But I'm going in that snake hole one way or another.
All right, well, we're going to do our best to make sure you don't leave in any of those listed conditions, but all right, you know what? We're already partway through that goal. So I think that should put a little pep in everybody's step. Little tiny
Can
bit.
I lose a blues for that? My trouble unbruise a little bit. No, just kidding.
Well, all right. So we're going to take care of that Perazzo family, maybe finish that job, make it nice and tight and neat. We've already started, so we might as well keep going. And we're going to get Red through. And they seem like a good place to start.
I wanna know who stole my birthday.
Sorry?
Kumar, you sure you're ready to talk about this?
I just told you what I want. That's what I want.
I think Ward chokes on his coffee when Kumari says birthday.
Yeah, Eli puts his
Like-
cup down slow and like just tips his hat up, looks out from under his hat at Kumari.
I said what I said. I'm gonna kill them.
Who's that, boss?
Don't worry about it, kid.
We're not that far apart.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I was trying to be cool. I'm sorry. I felt really okay.
No, you're good. It
No,
seems.
yeah.
I think it might be how Kumari might say it.
No, this would be talking as Kumari.
Oh, that's you. I thought you were pulling out to explain yourself.
No. Kumari is me.
Kumari is you. Fully. Yeah.
They are one unit.
And then Kumari stands up and goes, I don't know who did it. But someone stole the most important thing to me that day.
I'm going to say something to the group.
Sure thing, Ward.
Do we really get to act on what we want in this life with the debt and people who want us dead? Is what we want something we get to act on? Seems like we just got to survive.
Eli stands up and bangs his fist on the table, goes, survive? Survive? For what? Ain't nothing driving me forward but the need for revenge.
Even if it gets us all killed?
I made my choices in this universe. Y'all gotta make your own.
Kumari slams their hand down and goes, revenge! And like copies Eli's pose. Pose, yeah.
Well, all right, that's 2 for revenge.
I think Kumari's trying to go like back to back with Eli and just like kind of like look cool with that.
Do like a little like
Charlie's Angels type moment.
Yeah, Eli allows it and like poses to make sure there's like interesting levels.
I think Ward just says, looks at Kumari and says, well, you're the boss.
And then Kumari looks at Blank and is like, well, you little freak, what do you want?
Holy shit.
Eli like looks at the captain, does a little double take. Coming in hot this morning, Cap.
You just hear from the background, like Whiskey and Tequila are like in the background, and Tequila's just looking at him like, is this the dynamic of this ship every day? Because this is wild.
They're like, this is so dramatic.
I have like above table, I have a real Elliot has a pit in his stomach.
Tequila's looking at his watch being like, we all woke up 12 minutes ago.
I don't think Blank... I guess I need to ask this first before I have Blank react. Has Kumari called Blank a little freak before? Is like this is the norm? Like, is it normal?
No, I think Kumari's a little bit unhinged. It's just like recalls you sweeping up the glass and putting it in your pockets and being like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Okay, cool. I think he's turned away from everyone just because like it's difficult to eat with a mask on, so he always has like slightly off to eat, so he doesn't show his face. He turned away from everyone, but you do see him pause with a spoon near his mouth before he puts it in, takes a moment to chew and swallow, and they reach into their pocket, and I think everyone hears it, but I think especially Kumari hears this. They hear the crunching of glass in their pocket as they as they pull out their phone from that pocket. Their hand has a few scratches and cuts on it from that, but don't seem phased at all. And they type
hardcore.
They type into it, and without looking, just slide the phone backwards towards you, and it just says, "I just want to live."
Ward has a slightly vindicated look on his face with that.
Kumari just turns to Eli and Maria. Is like, does Blank still have the glass in their pocket?
It sounds like it.
Yeah, you want a baggie for that?
Did you sleep in that?
I don't think they respond to that.
Also, their phone's all the way across the table.
Yeah.
And then Kumari's like, okay. Kumari turns to Eli and goes, what would the employee of the month do?
All right. Way I see it. For now, all of our goals are aligned. We're a crew, we've been a crew, and for now we still are. So if we go down to this fight, seems like some big shots are gonna be there. Trying to look at this new drug, making its premiere on the stage. So we go down to this fight. I find the Perazzos, y'all can get money or something. There's also information brokers. This is a Nexus event from all over the systems. Information brokers gonna be there. Might be someone knows something about a certain birthday party. So might be we all. I'm for this plan of going down to the fight.
That's true. Money makes it real easy to live. At a bare minimum, that sounds appealing.
Eli looks at Blank.
Goes, hey, kid. If you're looking to live, might be you want us to just drop you off on the next 812 we come by. But if you're looking to make a life for yourself, only way to do that is by stepping out on a ledge, risking a little something.
Kamari slams their fist on the table and says, "Risk."
They kind of clear up the plate, taking the last spoonful, and before standing up and setting the plate onto the table, and they grab their phone, take a few moments to type, and just show the screen again, and it just says, "Just point me in a direction. We'll start heading there."
Cool. I'm gonna go get some brooding time in before we land then.
Well, all right. We've got a plan. Good team meeting.
So you guys make your way back to Irvine Industrial.
Yeah, can I table talk ask a question? Real quick. Chinook. Does Kumari have reason to believe that the offending parties are like down there somewhere, or is it?
Yeah, I think the big reason why Kumari hasn't been back here is I think the offending parties. I think in like every like small part of each crime family, there was someone at that birthday party. Kumari was a little bit of a sketchy sketch, so there's a good chance that someone knows something.
Cool. Okay.
Blank, you plug into the computer, set a course back for Irvine Industrial. Rather than choosing to dock at one of the like the larger kind of hangars where your ship could get refueled or serviced or anything, you guys kind of dock out a little bit out of the way, knowing that this is not an area that you're particularly welcome, that you want to be have any of your ship's IDs registered or anything.
Brian, could I, before we land, do something?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
I think Ward just wants to go briefly talk to Eli and essentially like just goes up to the pod and says like, look, we don't have to agree, but if we're going to go into this together, we got to be ready to, back each other up. So we good?
I got your back as long as you don't get in my way.
Same here.
I can respect that. I can trust that bond.
High five, and then they. Just in the future, it's a little bit different than what we do now.
Yeah.
They
It's
spin
a
their hands and
splashy
then they
high five.
A little bit different.
I hate that.
Oh, is that your moist?
It's not my moist. I wouldn't say it's my moist, but it is gross.
But it is gross. We can all agree that was gross. Two weathered outlaws spit 5 as you guys go through atmosphere, re-entering a little bit of turbulence as you land kind of off in the kind of deserted area of this moon. It's a short hike back to where you're going to. I assume you guys are looking. Are you guys trying to go like straight back into the bar, or are you trying to like scout from a distance?
I think we're trying to scout from a distance.
Are we in atmosphere? Does the moon have breathable atmosphere, or are we
It is
in our
the-
space?
This is a moon that has atmosphere, but it's
Okay.
essentially kind of like dead. Like it looks like the moon, but you're able to walk outside.
Cool.
So there's not much there outside of like minerals and things to be mined.
Is this fight like a marquee event in the sense that there would be like I don't know, food trucks and stuff like a tailgate.
It is marquee in the like in the underground set. Like this is not being broadcast to the general public.
Really, I wondered like if we park and we're just sort of like trying to blend in with the crowd, if there's like a crowd to sort of not be in the bar.
I feel like instead of like food trucks, we'd be looking for like extra muscle who's there to like protect the enforcers. The food trucks of the crime world.
The food trucks.
Hey, they got meat.
The muscle trucks.
They got
meat
meat.
trucks.
That's the real street meat. Yeah.
That's the street meat.
I think also before we leave, Kumari is like, we should probably like wear disguises or like maybe each other's clothes or something. And I think Kumari also like every month just like buys Blank a new mask as like a little gift. So Blank has a collection of masks that they don't wear.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't wear them.
They don't wear them.
Fine.
Yeah, but there's a ton of extra masks that we could all wear.
Do you get those at the war?
Yeah, it's all from the war. Every time I'm like,
Oh my
I got this
God.
mask from the war.
Oh my god.
Like pretending like I like killed someone to get this mask.
I'm down to dress up in disguises before. I would maybe dress up like a businessman
With a business mask.
with a business. Yeah. I was thinking like a tie, but that is the mask of the businessman. Is it not?
Mask of the businessman.
So you guys, I'll say this, you guys land off in the outskirts. It is like kind of a noontime equivalent. This fight is happening sometime in the evening.
High noon?
Yeah, you land at high noon. In the interim before this fight, are you guys trying to like get back in, or like are you trying to get in with people who are like making their way to the fight, or are you trying to like scout from a distance?
I want to say that if like people are milling around, that Maria's interested in maybe trying to just like get some hot goss. Like she wants to go do some chats.
Maria's a good like social scout, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it crazy if we split up and like some of us kind of scout the perimeter and some of us like even try and go like hide where the fight is, or like just try and gather information? I feel like
I kind of like, doing a sort of, some of us go get info, some of us go scope out, like, is there some place we could stake out, or like where are all the exits? You know, have they fixed the windows since we smashed them all, or not so much?
maybe Blank could be like the perimeter, because I feel like they can probably move the fastest and like cover the most ground with their hoverboard.
Yeah, though I will say I probably wouldn't use my hoverboard because of how loud it is.
It's
'cause it will
really
use up
loud.
Much stuff. Yeah.
But if you're like far out, like looking for like enemy tanks or
I could do that.
Makos or whatever.
Yeah, no, I could definitely do that.
Oh, like if somebody's trying to, like if someone else, another contingent is lying in wait. I didn't even think about that. The danger.
There's so much danger.
Racketing up.
I will say, as far as like disguises go, you guys can definitely get into this place. Kumari, Eli, and Ward. If the bartender sees you, I don't think you guys have a disguise that would prevent them from recognizing you.
For sure.
I was to say, Maria's disguise is definitely going from having 2 braids to 1 braid. And then she switches her red bandana to a purple one and also puts it on backwards.
Oh my god.
I do a double take where I'm like, Maria, that you?
Is that you?
Kumari is gonna, in front of everyone, remove the mechanical eye from their face and then throw it on the table. And then their treble clef tattoo, they're gonna peel it off because it's just like a sticker. And then,
Maria is deeply concerned. I feel like she just gets a blues for watching this happen.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a blues check, Maria.
No. Never meet your heroes.
That's 6.
Okay, you don't get a blues.
She's upset, but she's like, we have a goal. I'm just going to focus.
can I make a roll to maybe take one of Herbie's mechanical arms and attach it to my body to have a bionic arm, so I'm not...
One of his air arms? His
one of his air
inflatable arms?
His inflatable arms. So it looks like I have another hand. So I'm not immediately noticeable as the person.
Do you want it to just be a like
prosthetic, like just just fills a sleeve, or do you want this to be functional? Because they're two very different answers.
Just to press. I don't think I have the capacity to make it an actual.
Okay. Oh,
like,
yeah. You can.
arm.
Go ahead and roll me a savvy check just to see if you can make this like a passable disguise.
Okay. That's my savvy is. I hope it's +1 because I rolled a 7 and it's a +1, so 8.
Yeah.
You go over to Herbie, and Herbie goes,
Hey, how's it going, boss? How can I help you?
And just rip off one of Herbie's arms. I'm like, I need
Jesus, boss, come on!
I love you.
Love you too.
And then Kamari gives Herbie a little forehead kiss and then gets some rope and ties it around there.
I was going to say, can Maria use her bandana to tie it on to Kumari?
you use your bandana to tie this, essentially fill this sleeve. You just hear from the background Herbie going,
Oh no, I'm gonna have to do a 4-hour scan on myself.
and you guys begin to make your way off the ship.
Ward does not disguise himself. The most he'll do is put his actual jacket over the other jacket, the matching blue jacket over the bullet hole jacket.
Nice.
I think I'd like to maybe find a way to just maybe not do the businessman idea, but just like dress like super plain, like unnoticeable, unobtrusive, and try and sneak like backstage, or I don't know how crime works, back to like the boxing green room.
Yeah, sure.
And just like hide in a closet or something. And if someone wants to like come with,
You can borrow Maria's clothes so that you look real basic.
okay, I'll borrow Maria's clothes.
Kamari also like takes off their duster, like puts their hair up, and like I think for the first time a lot of you realize like Kamari was born a woman and like is high femme.
Oh,
Yeah, like,
Cute. We love it.
presents that way for like the first time I think in front of everyone.
As you guys make your way off the ship, I want to go around. Everyone can roll whatever check they want is in this kind of like prep stage. So if you're trying to like observe people, you can make a savvy check or a perception check. If you're trying to sneak in somewhere, you can roll a savvy check. If you're trying to look intimidating and get in, you can make a grit check. But everyone, I just want to make one check to kind of establish where everyone's at as like the crowd and the crowds begin to come in. So I'll start with Ward.
Oh man, I was hoping I had time to think. I think Ward is. I don't know.
Do you want to?
Ward's having. I'm just like Ward's having a really hard time with this, knowing that Saul might be here. I think like he's struggling a lot, and then I think that you guys get to the bar, and he sort of like steals himself and just goes in and is just going to act like he's supposed to be there, I guess, as like a grit check.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me a grit check.
Like he's a mess up until you get up to the bar. That is an 8.
8 is good. You walk in like you own the place. I'm going to say because you're not trying to sneak, you're just walking in, you look over and you see the bartender look at you and go very stiff. But there are a bunch of people starting to like move in and out. You see some of the like the leather jackets of like there's a Reno Snake here or two. There's some like more buttoned up suits that you know are more Perazo family garb. And there are just a bunch of like, seems like a bunch of out of system boxing fans have like come in for this underground fight.
I think that Ward maybe tucked his revolver in the back of his pants, and he sort of, as a show of good faith to the bartender, shows his empty holster inside his jacket. It's like, I'm not going to try anything.
The bartender tenses up and like sees you and kind of gives you a very wary nod. He looks at you and kind of gives you the nod of like, did you do it? Like, did you get rid of the body?
Yeah, I give him a certain nod so that there's no misinterpreting.
You see his shoulders kind of relax and you look around the bar. The bar has been like, this is not a bar that is ever clean. This is like a shithole bar. This bar is clean. And it is
new window already.
They honestly went too hard cleaning this place. Like it now looks suspicious because it's so clean.
Yeah.
Ward, you make your way in. Blank, what are you doing?
I'm going to be doing the little whole like surveying the area of the like probably furthest perimeter I can get away with. Just to keep an eye on if any third parties or anyone who is just generally coming to this event, I could just keep an eye on them. They'll come ins and outs of it. And I'd be probably riding my hoverboard fairly high up in the air, just to get a good vantage point of it when I'm cycling around.
I'll say make a perception check. I'll let you roll with the upper hand since you're on your board.
11.
Blank, with an 11, you begin to do large loops, just kind of like slowly starting in a very wide arc and then just kind of spiraling in a little bit. You look around, you see a bunch of like very fancy cars and personal spacecraft are coming in. You see a lot of like things that are both, there are some that are like too expensive for this area. Like this is a shitty like kind of backwater mining town that you know are likely like Parazo enforcers or goons or like out of system criminals of various extents. You do see a number of hoverboards that you know belong to the Reno Snakes, like people kind of out in the distance. You're staying high enough up and like out of the way that they're not really like looking at you. But as you are going around, probably in your third or fourth loop, you see a slightly odd sight that you don't see that often. You see a Reno Snake with cut off sleeves on their like leather jacket. They're wearing a long red scarf tied around their neck. And there's a second person on their board, like essentially holding on to their waist as they're riding. It's not that common to like ride tandem on these boards, just because they're pretty unstable when you do that, which means you know that the rider is exceptionally skilled. But you see this long red scarf and you see a little notch on the back of it that is like essentially like a white cutout that has this little like triangle sigil. You recognize the scarf.
Do you now?
And you see Dell with someone on their board fly past you.
Oh, the heartbreak!
Can I roll a blues check?
Yeah, you roll a blues check.
Give them the blues.
Oh god, I have to add grit to it, right?
Yeah, grit.
Yeah, that's a 10.
Yeah. You can you tell me as you take that blues, when did you give that scarf to Dell?
It's probably been maybe 10 years at this point. We were pretty young and we had just, with our life, you kind of have to do what you can to get by. We had just made with some food from a bakery. And we were just running down the streets as fast as we could with the baker, pretty hot on our tails. And this guy was pretty tired of our shit by now. We've targeted them pretty frequently because there's just not many people stopping us at their place, at their bakery. And it reached a point where they were throwing stuff at us, trying to slow us down to stop us. And Dell took a glass plate to the back of their heads, and they stumbled and fell. And though the initial wound wasn't too bad, it did bleed quite a bit. So after we barely got them back on their feet and continued to run and lost the Baker family, I had to do something to wrap up the wound, stop the bleeding. So honestly, I just climbed over into the garden of someone and took some of their laundry. And one of them was two long red scarves. And I grabbed both of them and used one to staunch the bleeding and the other to lightly wrap up some of my wounds that I had sustained along the way. And we just kind of laughed with each other. This wasn't the first time we got a bit roughed up, but this was definitely the most exciting, the most fun. We haven't had like a street chase before. It'd never been a case where we felt like we were in danger. And I think just the adrenaline wearing off and the realization that we're okay, we just laid on the ground in this abandoned warehouse laughing as we tended to our wounds. I haven't seen that scarf since the day I had to run just over a year ago from the bar on Reno 12.
As you see this scarf fly by, knowing who it is wrapped around, do you continue circling this area or do you follow after Dell?
I think there's a moment of pause where my spattering, my circling stops, and I'm just in a straight line staring at this red scarf flitting by. And I think just unconsciously, without really thinking about it, I start to follow.
You start following from a distance behind, knowing that you're only a few minutes out from this area, and you begin to see Dell heading towards the ground.
Midnight Muscadines is a cozy, dark tabletop role-playing game where light and shadow intertwine in a fractured world. Players take on the roles of Marmoteers, brave adventurers who journey into the untamed wilderness to collect the elusive Midnight Muscadines, craft magical jams, and protect the fragile light of Nim. Through collaborative storytelling and resourceful gameplay, players weave tales of courage, community, and the pursuit of balance. Will you preserve the light, uncover the truths hidden in the shadows, or reshape the balance of the world forever? Midnight Muscadines is perfect for fans of Studio Ghibli and Sea of Stars who seek to capture the magic of exploration and the heartfelt adventure in a world where small heroes make a big impact. Play Midnight Muscadines as a traditional GM'd game, GM-less, or even solo. Midnight Muscadines is crowdfunding now on BackerKit. Join the campaign at pandeongames.com/muscadines.
I'm Quinns of tabletop role-playing game review show Quinn's Quest, and this is Play to Find Out. Play to Find Out is an actual play podcast that brings notorious old games from the 80s and 90s back to the table. Each season of Play to Find Out, I'm joined by Emily Johnson and Rob Morgan.
Good? Nervous?
Yeah.
You both looked at each other really concerned, like you think what's about to happen is going to be unpleasant. And frankly, I think that's rude.
And together, we explore the TTRPGs of ages gone by. Our goal, to separate the TTRPGs that deserve to be remembered from those that maybe don't. I don't know, Emily. It was the 80s. A lot of people were on cocaine. We blow the dust from decrepit systems to learn how they work. Your 100 on the encounter table bursts out. Right, you've encountered a fog. Get ready. Don't laugh.
How does one get ready for a fog?
Don't laugh. Encounter their unique quirks.
I do finger guns to cover up how I wince.
A weird thing happens as you do finger guns.
Oh no.
And I'm hoping that the Quinn's Quest community will join us in exploring these games too. If you this up, cannot describe to you how much your adventure ends here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the best way to learn is to play to find out. Play to Find Out is available now on the Quinn's Quest Patreon, but the first episode of each series streams for free on the Quinn's Quest YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts. Anyway, you failed the Earth Tech roll, and you made jokes while I was doing my exposition, so you don't get to hear any more.
Oh, no. Come on.
I was shook.
Maria, what do you do?
Maria wants to head into the crowd and see what sort of intel, just anything interesting, whether it's about the Brazos or the fight or
Go ahead,
anything.
Roll a savvy check. I'll let you do it with the upper hand.
Ooh, baby. That's a 5, and a 6. So that's, what is that? 11 plus 2, so 13.
I'll let you pick 2 of these 3. Do you want to learn something about the Parazos? Or something like from kind of like Parazo people? Something from the Reno Snakes? Or something about Saul Jackson?
Oh. Maria definitely wants to know something about Saul Jackson. And I think the Parazos have just come up a lot. So I think Parazos and Saul Jackson.
You're kind of moving through this crowd pretty easily. You're very plain and unintimidating without even a wrench as a weapon anymore because you gave it away to the bartender.
Oh, when we got back to the ship, I definitely went over to the toolbox and got something else out.
Oh, okay, so you now have
I have a new wrench or something.
a different wrench, of course.
Screwdriver? I don't know.
You learn a couple things just like hearing conversations and having kind of half-hearted talks with various people at the bar. For the Perazzos, you learn a lot of what Blank had learned. You know that Casey Perazzo is supposed to be in this fight, though you and only a few others know that Casey will not make it to this fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know that the Perazzos are trying to buy the Tomaton Automotive Factory and like increase their kind of like this is a move to kind of win the war against the Reno Snakes. Like this will be enough to put them over the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know that money in Indy Carter has not been found, so the information that you have is ahead of what they have.
Okay.
You hear one of the Perazzo family kind of like enforcers is talking to another one going, yeah, I don't know. Like, listen, like Casey, Casey's kind of a flake. Or Casey's like kind of fucked up a little bit, but like Casey never turns down a fight. Like no one's heard from her in like, I don't know, 12, 13 hours. Like that's not unusual most days, but like today, like she was supposed to be sparring all morning. She missed all of her sessions. So like, listen, I don't know what happens if this fight doesn't happen. Like there's a lot of money riding on this thing. And then you hear the other one look at him and go, yeah, but is Tony still coming? Like, do we still need to keep a perimeter? Like, oh yeah. I mean, Tony's still going to be here.
And that's the head of the Perazzo family.
Tony is the matron of the Perazzo family.
All right, Tony's coming to the fight.
Is this Tony with an I?
Tony with an I, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Classic. Yeah, it
Classic
is.
Tony.
Classic space Tony.
Eli.
Oh, wait. What do I
yeah,
learn
go
about Saul Jackson?
Oh, what do you learn about Saul Jackson?
Saul motherfucking Jackson.
Saul motherfucking Jackson.
This is a great question. As you're hearing this conversation about the Perazzos, you hear one of them kind of look out the window and go, "The fucking Saul Jackson? What the fuck is he doing here?" And you see a hoverboard land. You see a person with a like motorcycle helmet pull off their helmet wearing a long red scarf, and stepping off of their board as well is a very well suited man, kind of like slicked back hair, who immediately lights up a cigarillo and begins to walk into the bar with a sense of purpose.
Oh my God, so Dell is not working for the Reno Snakes. Dell is working for Saul Jackson.
Dell's
wearing a Reno Snakes jacket, but it doesn't have sleeves.
Saul Jackson's working with the snakes?
What does it all mean?
Saul Jackson's working with the snakes, right?
That's gotta be.
He was flown here by a Reno Snake. You know that much.
We're on comms, right? Like
you are on comms that are specifically shitty. So, but you can definitely relay this information if you want.
Do you relay that you see Saul Jackson?
I was just
over
confirming
comms?
that I know.
You hear a couple of Perazzo goons being like, "What the fuck is Saul Jackson doing here?" Like,
No, but like I know that Ward is Saul's son. Like I know that.
Yeah,
whole
you do
history.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Not,
I think
you probably don't know like all the details, but I think at this point, as it's gotten closer, Ward has kind of let slip that he doesn't want to see his dad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maria definitely, upon seeing Saul Jackson, doesn't know who
Yeah.
Dell is, but is gonna come on the comms and be like,
The Papa is in the house. I repeat, the Papa is in the house.
and she,
Can I make a blues check when I get that message?
yeah, you can make a blues check.
That is 11, so I am now at 8.
We have 4 of our 5 interstellar outlaws at 8. Trouble is certainly coming a brewing.
Ward is also taking a deep seat in the bar, so he's not like, it's not very obvious he's there when Saul arrives, just to avoid any immediate explosions.
Hell yeah. Maria, you see Saul very quickly get escorted down you see the bartender sees him, quickly like kind of calls him over and escorts him down a flight of stairs. This is not only a metaphorical, but a literal underground boxing fight. You see as they're walking down, the bartender kind of has a quizzical look on his face, like asking some kind of question, and Saul is clearly talking very quickly of being like, you get the sense of like, no, it's good. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's the vibe that he's giving off.
Can I ask one other question?
Sure.
On my turn. Dell doesn't have red hair.
No.
Okay.
Is this a guess who? Guess who? Orbital Blues.
Guess who? Orbital Blues.
It helps. I did write a quick Dora's description. When I described them yesterday. 5'10", femme person, pale, like very pale white skin, deep brown hair, and light blue eyes. He probably leaned up a little bit from if they're like at this point, but I described them previously as kind of lanky, more lanky than lean, kind of sneaky, roguelike kind of vibe, and usually quite very quiet spoken. But again, that was the last time I saw them, so who knows what's changed since then.
I was wondering if maybe Dell had decided to lead a second life and had rebranded as Jesse Red.
Yeah,
that'd be wild.
But I think I'm working too hard at a lot of the
You're
puzzles
finagling
of this
again.
game. I'm
Yeah.
finagling all over the place. So
That would have been a great idea. Glad I didn't have it. Eli, what do you do as you head towards this bar?
Well, I think if Maria shared that I know Tony Perazzo is going to be here, I think I would like to find a different way into the bar, like sneak in or pose as maintenance. I don't know, sneak in through an air duct or something and find my way to where the back room is going to happen.
I love the picture of Eli on like the outside of this rusty bar, like hoisting themselves up to get into the air ducts, and everyone in the parking lot being like, "What do you
Eli's
think
a great
he's
character
up
to cut back to, like, God.
I also love the idea of cutting back to Eli, and it's like moving sneakily through, but then everyone in the bar just hears above them, bang, 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 bang.
No, I want to be stealthy about it.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a savvy check.
Okay. Wait, 11.
Hell yeah. Do you want to try to do like sneaky as in not seen or sneaky as in not noticed?
I'm gonna try and be really unnoticed because it's pretty easy to blend in. I was just playing Assassin's Creed this morning. It's easy to blend in with a crowd. So I'd like to really like hide somewhere where I feel like the important. Is there a closet around where I feel like the important people are gonna like meet each other? Because I can maybe like murk Tony Perazzo.
You make your way down to the basement. You kind of like grab up some boxes and kind of like moving down quickly. There's enough motion happening as far as like pretty much no one's allowed downstairs quite yet. Like everyone's getting ready, so like everyone's just getting plastered up in the bar. It's just like it's getting rowdy. There are Reno Snakes and Perazzos here that seem to be at like a tentative, like this is a truce moment kind of. You see them testing that truce, but all of them knowing what their orders are of like, we're gonna have a fight. We're all here to witness this fight. No one fuck with anybody else.
Okay. So I kind of sneak back to that like door that leads down to the basement. I'm just like, what's that? Another case of brews coming right up. And then just like sneak my way in unnoticed.
Yeah, you make your way down into the basement. And in the basement, you see the amount of stairs you go down is surprising to you. Like you expected, 13 stairs to a basement or like 13 stairs to a floor. You go down 30, 40, 50 stairs kind of in this winding, like kind of back and forth thing. And it's kind of like somewhere around like the third or fourth floor you go down that you realize, oh, this is a mining town. And you realize that you are down deep in what was a former like excavated mine that is now, it seems to be disused. So they built a bar on top of it.
As one does.
As one does. You get down there and you see a cavern that is like 30 feet high. So this big rounded out cavern that has a bunch of branches going off of it that are clearly like mining shafts and tunnels. Some of them kind of boarded up and some of them have like, tape on them, like, unstable. A few of them seem to still be in working order, or at least, not collapsing. And in the center of this giant cavern is a classic boxing ring with a bunch of, stadium seating set up around it. You see affixed to the ceiling are a bunch of lights and things. This is like an underground spot, but they've clearly done it up. Like events happen here for high rollers.
Cool. Can the lights on the hallways, are they the branching spokes, are they those like lights with the little cages around them, like the long yellow strips with the little metal cages around them? Okay, cool. Just wanted to confirm.
For visual, reasons.
For visual.
Just wanted to
Is it like bumping down there?
There's not that many people down here. There is like you see Saul Jackson talking to the bartender. You see a couple other people moving stuff around, and you see like a DJ off in the corner who is like testing all their gear. So like
DJ.
So like or like an MC, and the everything is like
DJs,
being tested.
food trucks. This is the most Brooklyn ass underground fighting ring I've ever heard of.
Everything is like getting tested for the event, but like above you upstairs, you can hear people like getting restless. It's probably like maybe an hour from fight time, and you hear you begin to like look for a space. You're kind of like hiding behind these boxes, moving around. There's not a lot of places to go, but as you're walking by, you hear the bartender and Saul Jackson kind of arguing. The bartender looks at Saul and just goes, "What do you mean you don't know where she, like, we gotta have a fucking fight here, okay? Like, I haven't heard from Casey all day, and that's fucking weird. So, like, if Red's not gonna be here, you need to bring someone else or something." And Saul's just like, "Listen, all right, Red's gonna be here, okay? You're gonna get your fight, you're gonna get your money, you're gonna get your demonstration. Everything's gonna be A-okay groovy, all right? All right, you just need to calm down. Just like fucking calm down, okay? Have I ever not delivered?" Bartender looks and goes, "You don't deliver all the time." But have I not delivered on this magnitude? No, you've not delivered on this magnitude before, quite frankly. Okay, but this time I'm delivering. I brought you an out-of-systems champion, okay? And that's what you're going to be getting tonight. An out-of-systems champion bucking up Casey Perazzo, okay? That's what you wanted. That's what you're getting, all right?
It's gonna be Dell. I tell everyone on comms, I think the champion is gonna be Dell.
But do we know? I don't think we know
who
who
Dell
Dell
is.
is.
No one knows.
No, we
Dell.
don't know who Dell is.
Oh,
Yeah. Blank truly has not told anyone anything really about. They kind of showed up on your ship and was like, "I'm staying here now."
We were like, "You're good at flying. I'm not. So you take over."
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, you could tell us Red's not here.
Yeah, I'll say Red's not here, and then I'll ask Maria if they thought that the pilot of the hoverboard carrying Saul, like, did they look like a fighter? Like, did they look dangerous in any way? Could you tell that?
I mean,
I guess I'm asking Brian through you.
Are they down there with you, maybe?
The hoverboard rider stayed up in the bar.
Okay, so that's probably not the... I don't know. It doesn't...
They don't look... in the way that Casey Perazzo looked like a heavyweight boxer.
Yeah.
If this person's a fighter, they look like, welter or middleweight.
Okay.
Like they're fit and they can fight, but they're not a fucking bruiser. They're not Mike Tyson.
But maybe after they take punch-ups.
Well, I'm going to tell everyone, Red's not coming. There's another out-of-system fighter pegged to come and do the demonstration.
Maria will having clocked whoever, Dell, even though she doesn't know it's Dell. And yeah, they're like, they got dropped off here on a hoverboard, but that hoverboarder didn't look like they could take Casey Perazzo. That wouldn't be a safe bet.
Okay, I'm gonna continue. I guess I'm gonna try. Is there like a manager's office down here that they'd maybe use as a VIP box for the Perazzos or something?
As far as like VIP boxes, you do see a section of the bleachers that has a couple of like Perazzo enforcers kind of moving around it, like doing a perimeter sweep, like making sure there's no whatever's on it. So you see a section that's a little nice that seems like it would likely be a Perazzo box.
Okay, I'm gonna pick up a workman's like pork pie like cap that's like by me, like a newsy cap that just happens to be on a box. And I'm just gonna put that newsy cap on and then pick up some like crates that look like they would be on a space mining base, and then just like kind of casually walk around and just hang out and like pretend like I'm doing busy work down there.
Okay.
Until shit goes down, and try and like blend in with the crowd, and always staying close to that like Perazzo area.
Cool. As you're down here, you can like keep a distance kind of for free and without a check. I think the second you start getting closer to anywhere that has a large collection of Perazzos, any kind of savvy checks that you make are going to be made with against the odds because you are a very known entity.
Yeah. Cool. I'll just be transparent. My long game is just like, it's crazy, but I feel like I'm going to stake out until I can just like
go guns
murk
blazing.
Tony and just be like, if I die, like, fuck it.
Okay.
Okay.
You make yourself kind of scarce in this area. You notice that the bartender who's talking with Saul is like looking pretty worried. You see he's looking worried not only because it seems like Red isn't there, but you also know that he knows that Casey Perazzo is not making it to this fight. So there's a bunch of people upstairs all ready to see a big fight happening, and right now no one is going to be fighting. For sure not one person, and maybe not both. But he's doing his best to keep it together. Last up is Kumari. Kumari, what are you doing as the tension before this fight is beginning to build, and the crowd in the bar is getting a little bit rowdy, getting ready to be led into their seats down in the basement?
Yeah, I think before everyone left the ship, Kumari was like, "All right, we're gonna break up into teams. I just gotta use the bathroom really quick." And then Kumari went to use the bathroom, and then came back and everyone was gone. And then they were like, they turned to Dick Whiskey, and they're like, "Did everybody leave?"
Oh man, I don't know. I turned around to go clean some dishes, then all of a sudden everybody's just gone, and I don't know. I'm just gonna try to make dinner for y'all.
Okay, whatever. You stay here. Herbie, come on, let's go. And takes Herbie off the ship to scout the crowd, I think is what Kumari's doing, which is kind of in the crowd walking around with Herbie as their droid or android thing that they're maybe pretending around to be they're gonna take part in the droid fights.
You see, Herbie comes off, just goes,
You got it, boss.
and then you just hear balloons, which is squeak, 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 squeak.
Inflatable android.
With Herbie, I'm imagining Baymax, but with
Yes.
armor, armored
Yeah.
Baymax.
But he's got a cage. He's got a metal cage that he fills.
Yeah.
I will say, mechanically for Herbie, because we don't necessarily have stats for Herbie. Herbie can do a crazy amount of things. Herbie has one heart because he is essentially a balloon.
Yeah.
So you can
one
do some
bullet
shit with
and
balloon.
Herbie's done.
And did Kumari not already kill Herbie by taking their arm then?
No, you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I've
The arm's a separate piece.
right. I've had to rebuild Herbie a few times, poorly. And then I think Kumari's kind of wandering in the crowd, unsure of really what to do or what to ask, and is kind of maybe talking to Herbie in a cathartic I need to just tell someone these things, and divulges to Herbie the I guess is in a serious tone, or not serious tone, just I feel today's I don't know why, I just feel today is the day I'm gonna figure out who stole the birthday from me. And then maybe it has a flashback of that day where you see their kid who is 10 years old walking into this karaoke bar somehow, and by themselves, and Kumari's completely confused and runs up to Kumari as Kumari turns to look at Maria and their other friends, and then this kid hugs Kumari, and Kumari's unsure what to do, and hands Kumari a gift, and Kumari's just stunned and cries a little bit, and puts the gift on a table with a bunch of the other gifts and cards and stuff. And I think Kumari then leaves for has to be hey, I'll be right back, and then walks outside for a moment, and is crying outside, and I think Maria comes out to be what's wrong, and as Maria does, you hear a huge explosion from the inside of the karaoke bar. And then Kumari looks back and comes back to, and is still telling Herbie the story, and is yeah, I lost no one inside that I knew came out, and all the cards and gifts I got were gone. past is riddled with me stealing from all these crime families. And I'm pretty sure one of them wanted me dead, but I don't know how they got me. And then Kamar's just gonna look for any familiar faces from that night.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check, and I'll say you can roll with the upper hand.
That's an 8.
It's just enough.
Do I see Kumari in the bar?
Yeah, you see Kumari.
I think I'd join them.
Kamari goes, I know, Wardley, I'm doing a birthday thing right now.
Uh-huh.
I gotta do this. I'm so sorry. And then hugs Wardley and is like, I think trying to tell them that you can follow me if you want, but I don't know where this is gonna go. But I need to go do this.
Okay. I think that honestly sort of maybe clarifies something for Ward on a personal level, and Ward separates and is going to move with the crowd down if the crowd's moving down to the basement, but separate from Kumari with that.
It's about that time you hear the double cellar doors burst open again, and the bartender walks up and goes, "All right, you motherfuckers, get on down here." And you see this bartender is putting on the bravest of faces and is inviting all manner of trouble into this mine basement shaft, knowing that right now there is no entertainment that is going to be happening, but it's just moving ahead as if nothing's wrong because that's all that they can possibly do. You hear him go, "Oh, get down here, you motherfuckers!" And everyone goes, "Yeah!" You begin to hear chants of "Casey, Casey," and you hear a slightly small, actually, I guess it would be a bigger contingent of just red roads, red roads, red roads, red roads, red.
That goes kind of hard.
Oh, it goes real hard.
Yeah.
And as people begin to make their way down, Kumari, you see John Tequila Rogers kind of quietly making his way downstairs as well, kind of going along in this crowd that is chanting Red Roads, though very noticeably not chanting along with them.
As everyone's going down, Maria definitely doesn't put two and two together and doesn't realize, but solely because Maria saw Saul get dropped off by the person in the red scarf, and that Eli shared that Red is missing. And I'm like, that can't be the replacement fighter, but I don't know why they're with Saul or whatever, that Maria is sort of moving down with the crowd, but is kind of trying to keep close to Del.
You guys begin to move down. You're keeping close to Del. You see the ring is empty. There's a couple of scantily dressed people who are walking around the ring with, big inflatable balls and are throwing them into the crowd. And
can one of them have 3 boobs? Because it's they got triple implants, and that's the new tit trend.
There's a woman with 3 boobs. There's a man that has a double banana hammock. There's a whole
Love it.
Going on.
That's fucking
Love
sick.
it.
Everyone's going nuts.
The latest trend in tits.
Trend in tits is 3.
Put that on a t-shirt, baby.
Honestly, that would sell if you had a shirt that was just is the latest trend in tits.
No, it's those oversized ones that look like it's a lady's body in a bikini, except it's that, but it has 3 boobs.
Yeah,
that's good. We should make that.
That's what I want.
That's the merch.
Yeah.
You guys make your way down as everyone begins to kind of settle in their seats. Crowd's very raucous. Everyone's just going crazy, chanting back and forth. The fight is slated to start in about 15 minutes. These things never quite start on time, but the crowd is at the point of being amped, not at the point of being angry yet. But that tide will turn pretty quickly. As you guys are kind of moving down into this crowd, moving through this crowd, Maria, if you're staying close to Del, it's not long after you kind of get down there. You're just kind of staying a few body lengths away. You see Saul Jackson walk up to Del again. As you kind of move closer, go and roll me a perception check.
Oh, snake eyes.
Ooh.
Bummer.
I get distracted.
Tell me, what do you get distracted by?
Triple boobs.
Triple boobs.
No, go ahead. Go do your thing.
Maria is like, the plainest of plain, and this is exciting for her.
Yeah, the question going through your mind is, how do you motorboat 3 boobs?
Yeah, she's trying to do the
Very
math.
carefully.
She's like, do you do 2 at a time? Do you like harmonica it? Like, what do you?
Yeah, I think you gotta do one hand, face between 2, and then hand, and then switch face, and then hand.
Yeah. Maria's doing some deep thinking.
Oh, the game of sad, horny cowboys.
Maria, you get distracted, but you do see, as you kind of glance back, you see Saul begin to clearly you've missed the conversation. Saul is looking angry and worried, but hands something to Dale, and you see Dale is holding something in their hand.
It is a size that could be concealed by a closed hand.
I'm going to say with Snake Eyes, it can absolutely be concealed with a closed hand.
They're hiding something over there.
But you see Dell looking very worried and surprised as Saul makes his way over to the bartender. You see the bartender and Saul having a heated conversation as well before the bartender just kind of goes, throws up their hands and goes yeah, fuck it, whatever. It is the vibe you get from the distance. As that happens, off in the distance through one of these abandoned mining tunnels, you see a number of the crowd kind of hush. It's that perceptual thing that happens in the crowd when the band comes on, everyone kind of cheers, or when something happens on stage, everything just kind of grows hush or changes for a minute. And that quality of the air changes down here. It takes a minute to realize what exactly is happening from on the ground and not kind of up in the higher stands. But off in the distance, as you look over, you see moving from one of the abandoned tunnels is a contingent of Perazo goons, all surrounding one kind of elderly woman, probably in her late 60s, but looks younger, is clearly a very active woman. Someone walks forward with a power that exudes from a great distance from her. And she moves very quickly through. Actually, she moves very much at her own pace, and people around her quickly move out of her way. You see from the distance a figure you've not seen in some time, Eli. You see Tony Perazo.
My hand flies to my hip, and just instinctively, and my finger twitches. But then I see all the guards, and I picture myself in my mind whipping out my 9mm precise pistol and putting a bullet straight through her head. And then I just see all these guards, and there's just too much of a chance that it won't work. And I just let that moment slip past because I'm just too scared that someone will jump in front of the way and I'll lose my chance. So I'm going to wait for her to get a little bit closer. And I pull the pork pie hat a little farther down around my eyes to obscure my face.
From this distance, you see Tony Perazo begin to be escorted up into her kind of section of the bleachers. She's got where everything else is just kind of bleacher seating. Hers, they've physically put essentially a lazy boy chair on a bleacher. They've basically welded it to it. So it's very much this kind of janky throne.
I should have asked this before, but are these bleachers is there space underneath them? Could I 90s movie where a little pervert kid would look up skirts? Can I hide down there to shoot her? Or would they have checked? I don't know. Or is there a maintenance,
They are kind of football bleachers, football stadium bleachers. So you could get under them. You notice that under hers there are a number of Perazo. Essentially all the other bleachers are no one gives a fuck. By the Perazos, there are guards kind of all around the bleachers. Her bleachers are noticeably all Perazo. There's 40 or 50 people in this bleacher. Every single one of them is a Perazo.
Okay, Eli flashes back to a recent caper that this crew had where they snuck up on someone in a bathroom and kicked their ass in a bathroom, and Eli's gonna try and wait till Tony needs a minute alone and like anticipate that and maybe try and sneak into the bathroom, even if there's guards like stationed around it. And I'm just gonna kind of hold my action for now.
Cool. I think as you're watching, you also see one of the kind of Perazo enforcers come up to Tony and kind of like whispers in her ear. She looks over at the enforcer and kind of like has a flash of worry or misunderstanding on her face. And you see her kind of like wave over, and the bartender walks over, like the owner of this establishment walks over. And they have a quick conversation where he is extremely nervous. You know, because he knows a lot more than he's saying. You see the bartender kind of has this conversation, looks worried. You know, because they know that Casey isn't coming. And you kind of intuit that the question that is being asked is, where is Casey? And the bartender is saying, I don't know. And Tony starts to kind of like look around, worried. Go ahead and make a savvy check for me, Eli.
Ooh, that's a 10.
As Tony looks around, she kind of like waves over to one of her kind of like right-hand people, who begins to kind of like talk to a bunch of other people. You recognize that there is a large Perazo contingent here. Like, if something went down between the Perazos and the Reno Snakes, like, it'd be crazy. But the Perazos kind of have the numbers in this space.
Okay.
You also recognize that the look on Tony's face is, I thought this was taken care of. Something's wrong. We might be pulling out. They're not making that call yet, but you see, like, what you see as people are moving around is like, we might be moving out. Like, everyone get ready because we don't know what's going on here. Blake, are you moving down into this area?
Yeah, I rolled, like, while everyone's talking, I rolled a savage to see how unnoticed I am, and I rolled a 13, so I'm, like, invisible.
Yeah, baby.
So, like, I'm just lurking, so I'm, like, within the crowd mingling, like, keeping close. I think I managed to get closer to Del than Maria was, and I'm just, like, kind of floating around that orbit, just trying to keep an eye on them, especially after they took the helmet off. I'm like, okay, this is Del. Yeah, they've been just trying to look for a moment to pull Del aside.
To disguise yourself, would you take off your mask to like
No,
disguise yourself?
I think they just have like they have their hood up.
Cool.
So it's
Assassin's
kind of like
Creed, awesome.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed style, yeah.
Shadow over the face.
Great.
The crowd in here is like still moving and bustling. It's not too hard to hide yourself.
And imagine it's kind of dark.
The like outskirt is dark, and then like the ring is being illuminated.
Yeah.
You move through and kind of moving close to Del. You see Del kind of fidgeting with something in her hands and begins to move to follow Saul, who seems to be walking over towards the bartender, who's kind of now in like this neutral position, kind of in between where Tony Perazo is and where Saul was before.
I think Blank will kind of hover and wait for whatever conversation might be about to go down between the barkeeper and Saul to finish. And once it does, he's going to try and talk to the barkeep to just be like, what did you just talk about? What's happening?
You see Saul and him have like a quick conversation. The bartender gives a nod and glances over at Del and just kind of again gives the like bucket kind of motion and begins to walk over towards the MC. You kind of intercept him as he's going to the MC.
You know, I type up, what's happening? And I show the screen phone to them.
He looks at you like recognizes you from yesterday, but doesn't really know because you were kind of out of the fight in a sense. He saw you leave with them, but doesn't consider you in the same realm of like Eli and Kumari and Ward.
Yeah.
No big deal. We're just adding a little undercard fight while we wait for the heavyweights to finish their warm-up routine. So, just to keep the crowd entertained, we're going to do a little undercard fight.
Their eyes widen because I think they know Soldier Action enough to know that they're not fighting. They know their reputation. They're probably not fighting. And the only other person that was with them was Del. And they kind of grab the barkeep by the arm and then again type something up quickly in their one hand and shows the screen. It says, the person in the red scarf, are they fighting?
Yeah, I think it was Delta or Del or I don't know, 1L or 2. I don't know. We're not printing programs for this thing. I just got to go tell the MC we got to make the announcement. I'm still trying to find another fighter. So it's gonna be Dell versus somebody, but we gotta get this crowd entertained before they get a little restless.
There ain't no zines for sale at this at this underground fighting ring.
I want to ask above table. Is everyone okay with Blank being the one to fight before I offer this?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Do what you want.
Kick it.
Okay.
Badass. Maybe the mask will get shattered. We'll see a glimpse of your face. It's crazy.
Break that mask. Break that mask.
I again would like tighten my grip on the barkeep's arm as they like try to move to the MC and shake my head, and then again quickly type down and just says, "You have your fighter."
Bartender kind of looks at you, like kind of like wrestles your arm off for a second. It's like, no, I gotta go. But then kind of looks down at the thing, sees it, looks at you, looks over at Dale, kind of like scans Dale's, like really like taking in, like, is this a matchup? Like, does this make sense? Looks at Dell, looks at you, kind of like leans in close, goes, I mean, you know what you get yourself into. Listen, you guys, I know you're with those people, and I don't want to fuck with you because you helped us out of us. I mean, admittedly, it's a scrape that you caused, but that's, from what I understand about this fight, it's not exactly going to be a fair fight, okay? So if you want to get yourself hurt, that's fine by me, but I just want to do you a solid.
They don't even retype anything. They just push the same message on the phone into their chest and then put it into their face. You have your fighter.
All right, then. What name you want me to announce?
They delete the text and just show a blank screen.
God, I fucking love Blank.
Chinook was so excited to like learn Blank's original name. He got so deflated when it was like, no,
Such
Yeah,
bullshit.
I thought we were about to get a huge reveal.
Drax Swan songs. Drax Swan songs.
You see the bartender kind of like look at the phone and kind of like tap it for a second, like as if like, is this thing busted? And then like just looks back at you and goes, oh, I get it. It's okay, cool. Walks over to the MC, grabs onto the microphone and goes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a bit of a delay here before the main event. You hear immediately, boom, up, wait a minute. At the undercarriage bar, we always know how to treat you right. So we're going to start you off with a little surprise welterweight competition. How's that sound? And you immediately hear,
We like to watch violence. We love it.
that's the cheer. We love violence.
We love violence. We love violence.
It like holds out the microphone to the crowd. The cheers echo out through the speakers, getting like reverbed and ramped and building up. Brings the microphone back to his mouth and goes, all right, introducing your first competitor. They're coming in at 5'10", 153 pounds, fighting out of the 7-year itch. Fighting out of the 7-year itch, this is going to be a fantastic first-time fighter. Please give it up for Dell. You immediately see Dell walks up, and the whole contingent of Reno Snake starts cheering, Dell. It kind of takes on a Bill Nye the Science Guy type vibe. Dell walks into the ring, rips off the Reno Snake's jacket, has like cut off sleeves, and you see like pretty well defined arms, and has wrapped her hands up in like tape. But this is a bare knuckle boxing match, so it's just wrapped up in tape, no gloves, and it's kind of slamming their hands together. And Blank, from the distance, you see they still seem to be like holding something in their hands that they're kind of fucking with. And as you see that, Maria, can you give me a perception check?
Sure can. It's gonna be, oh damn it, a 7.
Okay.
Can I make a perception check?
Yeah, sure, Ward, you make a perception check.
I really want to exert myself, but I'm terrified too.
No.
Yeah, save it.
That's a 3.
3? No?
Not
No,
perceptive.
okay.
Maria is still she's now listening to the announcement, but she is mesmerized by these moves.
I think Ward is just staring at Saul, like he's found a seat where he has a clear line of view for Saul and is just staring.
I think you see this, but don't necessarily perceive it. You see Saul is like waving over at Dell and is like miming like punching his own arm. And you look, I guess Blank would look over at Dell and see Dell kind of clocking Saul and beginning to like move that whatever is in her hand around a little bit more. And you see her kind of raising her hand up to do this as, like, you know, the one with 3 boobs walks in front of her for a bit of shade. And coming in from the south corner, and leans up and he goes, "You want me to say you're from anywhere? Or you want to just go with parts unknown?"
They type it up. God, I can't remember how to pronounce it. Sarpedon. I think it's the planet they called home before leaving. They're going to say Blank from Sarpedon.
Sarpedon. All right, sounds good. Well, out of system, baby. All right, cool. And we have another out-of-system contender here. You may know them from Sarpedon. They've been boxing for most of their life. Kind of just like glances over at you and just goes, been known to compete for some championships, but is still chasing their first one. Maybe they'll find another win tonight. Shrouded in mystery, I present to you, making their debut in the Sutler system, Blank.
Maria definitely like double take and then has a brief thought of like, I didn't know Blank had a boxing history. And then it's like, do they have a boxing history?
Yeah, I think the group chat without Blank is blowing up right now.
Blank, what does everyone see as you walk into the ring?
You see Blank, this figure, hooded still, head down, with their hoverboard strapped to their back and a baseball bat their side, almost like a sheathed sword, as they walk into the ring. And very calmly, almost, you see them remove the baseball bat and set it down in the corner of the ring. They remove the hoverboard and set it by the baseball bat and turn to face Dell and lift their hood up. And you still see the black mask, but they look Dell straight in the eye. And I think only Dell can really tell that they're being looked at straight in the eye, because they've been with Blank for a while, been with them where they've worn this mask for a while, and they just timidly wave at Dell.
Blank, I'm going to have you make a pretty important check for what this fight is going to look like. Yeah. You see Dell is holding onto the punch-up drug in her left hand. Off in the distance, you're going to make a contested roll against Saul Jackson. So Saul is going to be rolling a savvy check. It's just going to be rolling it straight. But Saul Jackson does have a +3 to savvy. You can roll whatever you like. If you want to roll like a muscle or grit for some kind of intimidation, or a savvy just to kind of like play on emotions, I will let you roll it with the upper hand at the cost of 1 heart.
Oh no! Are you at full heart right now?
Yeah, I'm at full heart. I haven't lost any. And what is this? Is this to...
This is to explicitly prevent her from taking the punch up, which will drastically alter the difficulty of this fight should it go to completion.
And isn't the point of this match is to like showcase punch up for these criminal elements, right? So this is like ostensibly the bigger, it's the preview fight, but it's actually like the main event.
You get the sense that, especially because Saul came with the Reno Snakes, it seems like the Reno Snakes may be like previewing this drug. This is a combat enhancer drug.
Cool. So the Perazzos don't maybe know about the punch up.
I think knowing that Casey was going to be fighting someone who was then themselves taking punch up, like they would not, like Casey would not fight someone who was taking punch up.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
So the Reno Snakes are kind of getting 2 for 1. They're getting to preview this drug and maybe fuck the shit up of Casey, not knowing that that's already been taken care of for them.
What's Blank's muscle?
A +1. Okay. Oh,
like you're dead if they take the punch up.
Who knows? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I will. I'll roll it. And I'll take the 1 heart to roll the upper hand. Okay. I'm using my savvy for this. That's a 12.
Woo!
Woo, baby!
Nice.
This is interesting because Saul Jackson rolled a 6 and a 3 plus 3 is also 12.
What happens when we have a tie?
I would like to do something, and then you can tell me what happens here. As I make eye contact with Del, and it's been over a year at this point, and maybe I'm wrong, but at least Blank feels like they have no reason to remember them, especially with a Blank mask on. So they reach up and will pull their mask off and let it fall to the ground. And behind the mask, you see, I think the best I can put it is kind of a pretty boy. They are they look like they haven't seen much hardship, but from the scars around the neck, you can definitely tell they have, other than the scar around their neck, they have one that dissects like part of their lip, like starts from just below the eye down to their lip as well. You can tell that it's probably just as old as the one around their neck. They have deep hazel eyes, and I think, why not? They have a little stylized slit in their eyebrow.
They do.
You can tell that they look after themselves purely for themselves because they're never wearing that mask, but they look after their appearance just for them.
Yes.
But right now, their eyes are red and puffy from so many tears as they look at Del. And for the viewers, the people listening, I don't think anyone would actually see this because of the distance, but as the mask hits the ground and kind of lies face down, you see carved into the rim of it was, "You got this, Blank," and signed Del, as this was the mask they gave them when I first started Orbital racing. They thought it'd be cool to have something eerie like a Blank mask and the name Blank to enter these competitions with.
Oh my God. Blank just gets 3 blues.
Yeah, like you gotta roll for
take some
blues.
blues.
right
Can I roll for
now.
blues? Yeah.
I'm gonna
You just have it.
because you're taking off your mask and you're encountering the person. I'm gonna give you 2 blues for that.
Oh, okay.
Juicy.
Kamari texts the group. Blank's the hot one on the ship. Jeez.
Eli takes the blues
True.
because he thought he was.
Kamari takes the blues for giving Eli the blues.
Blank, as the mask falls and it kind of clatters on the ground, you see the crowd kind of just gets hyped, thinking this is just like showmanship and just, fuck yeah. There's like a group of people in the Reno Snakes that all kind of like don't recognize you, but all kind of swoon. They're like, ooh, yeah, cute looking. You take off the mask, you see Del's face. A question that she was pretty sure she knew the answer to immediately is answered. Her hand falls to her side, the punch-up falls to the ground and clatters out of the ring. In the distance, you don't even hear this, but Saul Jackson is just screaming through the crowd, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Can I snake the punch up? Can I like be around the ring to like grab the punch up as it clatters?
Yeah, go
away,
ahead.
Or
Go ahead. I'll let you make a sneak check. So you're gonna just roll a straight savvy check. Should you fail, you're very much in line of sight of being spotted by the Perazzos. So it's high risk, high reward. You'll just roll a straight check.
Okay. 10.
Hell yeah. You quickly move it with like boxes, grab onto the punch up and kind of move back to the area where you were at.
I like have grabbed a push broom to like act like a blend in, and I just like sweep
Brushing
it
stuff
towards
off.
me, and then like kick it up with the tip of my a boot, and just like catch it and put it in my pocket, and then put my hat even lower.
Ultra low hat. You see this thing kind of like a nicotine patch or something in your hand. You stuff it in your pocket. Blank, you take this mask off, feeling the fresh air as it is, in a cave on your face, in front of people for the first time in some time. You see Dale's eyes go wide and then go sorrowful, but they look around and realize where they are. Off in the distance, you hear an announcer saying something you don't even necessarily hear. It's just muffled through a white noise as you just hear the white noise of what it sounded like when Dale put you on that hoverboard and sent you into the distance. You know that Dell wasn't a Reno snake when you left, but seems to have become one in the interim. And you also see that their eyes and their face prove what you yourself have experienced, that they have been awakened to the realities of the universe, the realities of the Frontier Galaxy and the New Rebel era. You don't know what happened to them, but something happened to them. For a moment, they kind of let their arms rest back. They look around wildly, almost as if like, can I get out of the ring right now? Like, I don't want to do this. As they do that, you see their eyes lock in the distance on something. You look over and realize you're not following the eyes to Saul Jackson, though you see Saul Jackson literally jumping up and down. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I need Kumari, and I need Ward, and I need Eli to all make perception checks. I'll say, Maria, you can make a perception check too.
Just for fun.
That's a 10.
3.
8.
9.
Eli, you turn to look at Tony. You see Tony's eyes go not necessarily wide in surprise, but kind of narrow. But as you look over in the crowd, you're not quite sure what it is that she's seeing. However, Ward, you do notice what she is seeing. You see walking through one of the other tunnels and into her own box is none other than the head of the Reno Snakes, Francine Dubois. And this is the person that Dell has locked their eyes onto. As Francine kind of moves over, takes the seat, glances down at Saul Jackson and kind of gives a nod as if to say, like, everything good? And Saul Jackson kind of looks up and gives a thumbs up, giving the impression that, like, everything's fine, this is going to be great. And then immediately turns back to Dell and is just kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Kumari and Maria, you see the same thing. As Francine Dubois walks up, you don't see Francine Dubois. You see the person walking next to Francine Dubois. Kumari, what's the name of your child?
Kav.
You see Kav walking next to Francine Dubois, sit down in a seat next to them, and stand up to cheer for the fight. All of you hear ringing in your ears as you recognize the tension that is in this room, and moments later you hear ringing for another reason. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
When the old towns are humming, then the dust kicks off into a cloud. When the sun beats down, you come running, saying everything's out.
And that is the end of this episode.
No!
Damn it!
You motherfucker.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
You.
Everybody's trouble's ruined.
Everybody's. Oh,
This
God.
might change Maria's entire, the whole plan I had for her, I think, is just pivoted. Oh, God.
So conflicted.
Fuck.
Our interstellar outlaws find themselves in a basement bare-knuckle brawl with all of their enemies in one place. Tune in next week for the finale of My First Dungeon, Orbital Blues.
That was fucked up.
See you, Space Cowboy.
Oh,
Bang.
Bang, bang.
Bang,
bang.
bang.
Space, baby.
Space bang.
I never want to go to space. Space seems bad.
Space seems
It's
bad.
bad.
Space is cold-hearted.
Holy shit.
You like us. You really like us. At least I assume that you do, as you've listened to every minute of this episode. And yet you haven't already left us a 5-star review? Ugh. Well, what are you waiting for? Get over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave that review now. It's always wonderful to hear words from our adoring fans. Getting more ratings helps people find the show and love it as well. And we love to hear your nice words. So head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and leave us that 5-star review. Ta-ta!